Hey, this is Sky. Welcome to my YouTube channel. Go check out my website at skysworld.com for life coaching and mentoring. It's Sunday, bright and early, daily discipline, mind, body, and soul. This is how we get through. I don't think I have any new subscribers this week, so I don't have to explain how the study group works. Let's just get into it. I got several pages, and there's no way I'm going to get through it all. So let's just see if we can cherry pick through some of this. I may have to do another follow-up video on it. We'll just see how it goes. Here's something that I can't suggest you try to do. I can't give you this advice. I did it. Some of you out there may have done it. And you'll see why we can't advise you to do this, but you should do this. Lose everything, learn how to survive, and then claw your way back. See, you need to learn the lesson on survival. And then you don't confuse convenience for survival. A lot of people have little conveniences taken away from them and they think that their survival is being threatened. You need very little to survive, but sometimes you don't realize that until you're put into a situation like that. You realize what you need to survive when you go camping. Go camping. Realize what survival is about. You need very little. Camping is boring because you don't have a lot of your conveniences. But you can make it from sunup to sundown. You don't really need a lot. That's all the animals outside are doing. You know, we compile all this stuff. We build these permanent homes and put a bunch of crap in it and have a refrigerator full of food and think that if our refrigerators get even half full, they're not totally full. If the fridge isn't completely packed full of food, then we get into survival mode. Oh, I gotta go to the grocery store, buy 6 more jugs of milk. See the stuff people buy, how much food they buy. And people say, well, I got families and we eat a lot. You're eating what, 6,000 to 7,000 calories per meal? Throwing away enough food to feed all of Ethiopia? You know, animals don't need refrigerators and they don't need to worry about food. Dolphins play all day, and when they get hungry, they just go and grab a fish and then go back to playing. Why do we suffer differently than all the other creatures on the planet Earth? Why do we feel like that this planet's trying to kill us, whereas every other creature is living in the Garden of Eden? We've been banished. This place is a hellscape, a nightmarish hellscape that's trying to kill us every day. Meanwhile, the squirrels in your backyard, they love it. Everything they need is there for them. I think it's just perspective. Either we've done this to ourselves or this has been done to us. Let's go to the next one. This is kind of conceptual. Maybe we can try to hash this out together. I was listening to an Alan Watts talk, and he was talking about time. So let's try to go through it. Time is like the wake from a ship. So the wake from a ship, it doesn't drive the ship, and it's not the ship. It's just what's left over from the ship. You see, we try to explain who we are through a concept of time. We give a timeline to explain who we are. We talk about the past in order to explain who we are in the present. If somebody asks you, who are you? You don't say, well, look at me, this is who I am. You're looking at it. No, you explain your past. You give them your resume, your life story, whatever. But we don't explain boats by the wake of their rudders. You don't look at the wake of a boat and explain the boat. You look at the boat. What kind of boat is that? Well, look at it. I don't know. It's just a weird theory to think about. You have to let your mind kind of be open and play with that. Whatever happened to all the technology that we were supposed to get? Some of you are too young, but see, I remember it was Honda that came out in the late 80s, I believe it was, with a 100 miles per gallon car. Honda invented an engine that could go for 100 miles per gallon. Well, where is it? That's the question I want to know too. Where the fuck is it? You're sitting there and like, well, Sky, where is it then? Yeah, where the fuck is it? Is it sitting in a warehouse somewhere next to the Ark, like from Indiana Jones? In the last part of the movie, they put the Ark away in some big giant government warehouse. That's where Honda's fucking 100 miles per gallon car is sitting there. What else is sitting there next to it? Teleportation devices like from Star Wars? Excuse me, Star Trek? Oh, you nerds are going to get pissed that I made that mistake. Star Trek had the teleporters, I know. Well, they were able to teleport little tiny particles from one side of a room to the next. They did that more than 20 years ago. A successful experiment. They press released it and everything. Teleportation, it exists. We can do it. What the fuck happened? Where are the teleporters? Why don't we have them? We're sitting next to Honda's 100 miles per gallon car somewhere. Holographic TVs. Oh, that shit. The idea, they came out with this so long ago, and it wasn't just fantasy. I'm talking about scientists, DARPA. They talked about how they're going to put holographic TVs on your coffee table. You'll be able to watch the Colorado and Oregon football game, college game, watch Deion Sanders get his ass beat, just right on your coffee table with little dudes running around. Where is all this shit, man? Where the fuck is all this cool technology? We don't got none of it. Maybe you can think of some others. Nature has no memory. We have a big memory. We live by memory. Without our memory, we feel like we fall apart. If you had no memory and you woke up each day without a memory, then they have a movie about that. Oh, how hard would life be? In some ways, we have to thank God because we have a memory, because the only reason why I know that my coffee cup or my teacup is sitting right in front of me is because of my memory. If I had no memory, I'd be looking around for it. I wouldn't even know that I had a cup of tea. I'd make 1,000 cups of tea and would never remember that I already have one sitting there. I already have 30 of them sitting there. Let's go make another cup of tea. Thank God for memory. But nature doesn't seem to have a memory, at least not past one day. Every day is a new beginning. We're the only ones that celebrate New Year. You don't see the crows dancing around once a year celebrating because it's New Year. It's the Crow New Year. They don't have a New Year. They don't have any concept of that shit. Every day is a new beginning. Every night is a death. Every morning is a rebirth. We're the only creatures that clutch to the past. Puppets of the past. Let's go to the next one. If you run a simulation and watch it evolve through randomness, random selection, will it always end up different, or will it always end up the same? Does evolution always produce the most efficient being? Are we the most efficient being? Is that why humans rule Earth? Because we're the most efficient being. So if we were to run this simulation over and over again, 50 times, would 50 different versions of humans come out, or because of random selection? Or is random selection really not that important, and the end result will always find a way to evolve? We'll always evolve into this because this is the most efficient form. We're not good enough yet to create a sim city of the entire planet and have it really just run. It'd be interesting to see how evolution plays out, just to run 1,000 Earth simulations and see what happens on each one. Wouldn't it be interesting if humans came out in each one of them and they came out the same in each one? Random selection might not be as important as we thought. Here goes a sensitive topic that's going to piss some people off. Oh, this is going to make you mad. Here's the question. We have to ask this question. This isn't my question. This is a question that's been asked by intellectuals for decades. Is multiculturalism a failed experiment? Should we be more tribal? Should we go back to segregation and regroup into our little kingdoms? Maybe we could have separate but equal. say that sounds like a terrible idea, but if you travel around the world, a lot of countries are already doing that. If you go to many countries in Africa, when Egypt is a very multicultural, diverse nation, I've been to Egypt. You know who lives in Egypt? A bunch of fucking Egyptians. A bunch of Egyptians. They have their own culture. You go to Holland. I've been to Holland. And who lives in Holland? Very multicultural, very diverse. Go to Amsterdam, very diverse city. But for the most part, because I've been to Holland, I'm telling you from experience, it's a bunch of fucking Dutch people. They all look the same and they have their little culture. Dutch women are beautiful. Beautiful. Oh my God. But then you come to America, and we are the most multicultural, not the only multicultural, but the most multicultural out of any nation on the planet Earth, and I've traveled the world extensively. I've been around the world twice. Many continents. And America is the most multicultural. And what is our culture? Well, we don't really have one anymore, do we? We used to. You look back in the 1950s and we had an American culture. It doesn't matter if they were Latino, Asian, black, white. Doesn't matter what they are. There was a certain culture of what manhood used to be. Go look at any old movie. There was a certain culture of America. And somewhere in the late 60s, it kind of all fell apart. And now it seems like what we have is nothing but a bunch of other cultures. So you could go through Chinatown, Japantown, Koreatown, you could go through Little Italy, you could go through, every little culture has their little kingdom. But that's not the way it used to be. There used to be a form of assimilation. When people came to this country, they assimilated into an American ideal, into what it means to be an American. You would assimilate into what the host culture was. So then we have to go back to the first question. Is multiculturalism a failed experiment? Because it robs nations, it robs people of heritage. It destroys culture. Does multiculturalism destroy culture? Dilute it? It's just a theory. Don't get too pissed off. Let's pick another one or two and then we'll stop for the day. Here goes some advice. I have adopted this. You can if you want, you don't have to. Stop arguing with the other side. So as I've gotten older, I've become rather conservative. I used to be a big-time lefty. Me and my brother both were radical liberals. Oh, you think Obama and Hillary Clinton are liberals. It's so funny when you guys use those words for those people. We were Ralph Nader liberals. Me and my brother were radical liberals. That's to the left. You go look into Ralph Nader. You young people don't even know who he is. Ralph Nader was left of Bernie Sanders. We thought Bernie Sanders was conservative, sellout, funded by billionaires. We were radical. Democracy Now! You know about that show? You guys don't even know what a liberal is. But as I've gotten older, I've become a lot more conservative. You know, and it's weird because I feel like people ask me, how could you have switched your beliefs? I didn't. I'm the same. The whole world moved around me. The definition of liberalism has changed. I'm still working class. I'm still a working class punk rocker from the streets. My loyalties are with the factory workers, not the Richmond north of Richmond. But I tell you something, I am not arguing with lefties anymore. I don't waste my time. I'm not talking about anything. I'm not debating you. I don't care. I don't care what you believe. I'm done with it. I've tried this for 30 years of debating positions and trying to sway people's opinions and whatever. I'm so done with it. I no longer care. I don't care. I'm done with it. In fact, I think that debate needs to stop, and now we just need action. Let's talk a little bit about society, then we'll end it off. Society is a shared game. It doesn't happen on its own. We all have to agree on a set of imaginary rules, like on the playground. When kids play a game, it only works because every kid can share the imaginary rules, share the rules of the game. We can all join this imaginary world together. And somebody who doesn't follow the rules of the game destroys the game. The game falls apart. It's no fun anymore if you're not going to play along. And I think that this division that we have is destroying society because people are no longer willing to play along with each other. And this is why I think that we need action. We need to enforce some rules. It's time to start enforcing some rules. Food for thought.